time has arrived for us to start our meeting. I will call us to order at this time, and let us stand for our pledge of allegiance and invocation. To our great Creator, we thank you for this beautiful day. We thank you for helping us to come here to be of service to your people. We welcome you into this meeting, that you will lead us and guide us with your wisdom, with your knowledge, and your all-foreseeing eye. We thank you again for the opportunity to serve the citizens of Florence. We ask a special blessing upon all, but also that we will be good neighbors to all those around us. Once again, you're welcome into this meeting to have your way. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, as we proceed to go into our agenda, I would like to ask if there's no objections that we would move our resolution number 2024 number 11, a resolution of appreciation for Chief Administrative Judge David Jackson, forward on our agenda to follow during our service recognition, to proceed after the recognition of our two staff men. Are there any objections? Hearing none, the resolution will be moved forward. At this time, we're asked for approval of our minutes. We have minutes from January the 25th through the 26th, 2024 workshop, and minutes from February the 12th, 2024 regular meeting. Do you have a motion?
So moved. Second it.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let it reflect the minutes have passed. Next, will enter into our honors and recognition. This will be our service recognition, and I will ask that all those who will be a part of the recognition to please come forward.
Daniel Stone began his career with the City of Florence Fire Department on March 24, 2014 as a firefighter, where he was assigned to Engine 111, located at Station 1 on Palmetto Street. In January 2016, Daniel was promoted to firefighter driver and was assigned to Ladder 114, also Station 1. Daniel has exemplified unwavering commitment to the department by his work ethic and attention to detail in his duties and his training. Daniel's commitment and training was highlighted on April 2017 when the company which he was assigned to rescued an occupant from a structure fire. The efforts of Daniel and other members of his company were recognized by the Women in the World by awarding them the Life Safety Award. We extend our deepest gratitude for his dedication, professionalism, and exemplary service to the City of Florence Fire Department and the citizens of Florence.
Today we recognize Captain Stephen Starling. Captain Stephen Starling began his career with the Florence Police Department on March 9th of 2009, where he served in the Uniform Patrol Division until his promotion to Senior Master Police Officer and the subsequent reassignment to the Crime Scene Investigations Unit. Stephen found his niche in this unit and served as the lead crime investigator in countless criminal cases where meticulous collection of forensic evidence was the most critical piece of the investigation. Stephen advanced rapidly through the ranks, and upon his promotion to lieutenant in February of 2020, he became the police department's very first information and technology coordinator. While serving in this position, Captain Starling became a licensed drone pilot, establishing and developing the police department's very first drone team. Stephen was promoted to the rank of captain on September 23rd of 2023, and currently serves as the division manager of the police administration. Stephen's duties include overseeing the day-to-day operations of the police department's field operations for information and technology, accounts payable, telecommunications, police records, and the National Crime Information Center computer and the drone team. Stephen is the epitome of a team player, and he takes great pride in his work with the city. Today, we take this opportunity to thank Captain Stephen Starling for his 15 years of faithful and dedicated service to the city of Florence.
And I would ask that they come forward to the middle here, both of them. And as they're preparing to leave, I would like to say thank you to both of you for all your years of service and dedication to the citizens of Florence. Thank you so much. And also, I would like to recognize City Manager, Mr. Davis, and the staff for bringing back the service awards in person, since we've gotten to a place with COVID-19 that we understand what we're working with. So thank you, Mr. Davis and staff, for bringing those back. And at this time, with our agenda, we have resolution number 2024-11, a resolution of appreciation for Chief Administrative Judge Debbie Jackson. And I will ask Ms. Amanda Pope to please read the resolution.
Resolution number 2024-11, a resolution of appreciation for Administrative Chief Judge Deborah Jackson. Whereas Judge Deborah O. Jackson graduated from Wilson High School in 1976, graduated from Francis Marion University in 1980. Sorry, Judge.
I knew she was here a long time, but
1980, and received her Juris Doctorate from the University of South Carolina School of Law in 1983. And whereas Judge Jackson began her legal career serving as law clerk for the South Carolina Court of Appeals. Following clerkship, Judge Jackson served as city prosecutor and staff attorney for the city of Florence in 1984, assistant solicitor of Horry County from 1985 to 1988, and served as a part-time chief judge for the city of Florence in 1988. And whereas in 1988, Judge Jackson transitioned to private law practice with a focus on criminal defense in state and federal court, where she served for over 20 years until she was sworn in as the City of Florence municipal judge in 2009. And whereas during her tenure as administrative chief judge, Judge Jackson revamped the municipal court department to include several part-time judges, created livability court, created homeless court, coached the Wilson High School mock trial team, judged the South Carolina mock trial competitions, and organized and conducted seminars for the South Carolina summary court judges. And whereas Judge Jackson is a distinguished jurist who is highly regarded by her peers in the legal community. She's the first woman to be named president of the Florence County Bar Association, a founding member, and the first woman to be named president of the South Carolina Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, chairwoman of People's Law School with the Florence County Bar, a member of the South Carolina Supreme Court Commission on Continuing Legal Education, and a member of the South Carolina Supreme Court Commission on Lawyer Conduct. And whereas Judge Jackson has presided on the bench with integrity and wisdom during her time as tenure as administrative chief judge, working tirelessly to fulfill her commitment to justice in the city of Florence. Now therefore, be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Florence does hereby recognize and appreciate the passion and unwavering dedication that Judge Jackson has bestowed in her service as Administrative Chief Judge to the City of Florence. Resolved this 18th day of March, 2024.
Council, you've heard the resolution. Council, you've heard the resolution. What is your position?
So moved.
You have a motion?
Second.
And
And
we
I have an amendment to that motion to approve the resolution, and the amendment is there is this incredibly beautiful, which everyone will get to see, portrait, and that was done, and the motion is to have the portrait hung in the city courtroom honoring Judge Jackson.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to amend the motion to accept the resolution with the amendment of the portrait of Judge Jackson being held in the city courtroom. What is any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, let it reflect that the amended motion has passed. And now we yeah, well, the amendment has passed though. Yeah, so the amended motion have passed. So now our resolution will read as follows, as stated.
Okay, go ahead.
As stated, with the amendment of the portrait being placed in the courtroom. Do we have a motion?
Second motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect the amended motion, Resolution 2024-11 has passed. The portrait is here. What I will ask is that we will call Judge Jackson forward, and I'm going to ask that Pro Tem present the resolution, but I'm going to ask council to come down to take a picture with the portrait as presented. So council, please come forward. And also, while the council is getting positioned, I do want to recognize that we did have a reception this morning about 11:30 to have our Chief Judge, along with her staff and supporting the city, to come forward to acknowledge her years of service. So Judge Jackson, publicly, we would like to thank you for all that you've done and for your years of service.
So, on behalf of the city of Florence and a very grateful community, I want to present this resolution to you in honor and recognition of all your dedicated years of service. And I have had the privilege, being a lawyer, of practicing with Debbie all these years. And I can tell you, she is a lawyer and not only a judge of excellence and a judge of integrity, but her practice as an attorney is exemplary, because not everybody who practices law does it the right way. Some people take advantage of others and are not, do not cooperate with each other in the legal profession. And those in the law here understand from experience that when you get someone who serves as a lawyer that does it right, she takes that to the bench with her. And what Debbie has done is she's taken that same integrity, that same dedication, that same passion, that same love of people, and brought it to the bench. And we just are very, very grateful and thank you for all that you've done, Debbie, and this is for you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask at this time that attorney and husband will please come forward, because they're very key part to this.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're very key to this. And I would like to give, the judges will have the final voice. We'll get through our back, her to go over here and speak. But I also recognize her counterpart. Would you two gentlemen want to say something, especially because of your close relationship? Y'all are welcome.
Well, thank you. I'd love to say something because I think it's very important. You know, first of all, I would commend Mayor and Council for allowing this portrait to be hung. It's very important. As a young lawyer 100 years ago, I remember walking into the courtroom, the two things impressed me the most. The first thing was the biblical verse from Micah in chapter 6, verse 8, that said to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. The second thing that I thought was so impressive is that I looked around the courtroom and I saw portraits of jurors who had been there before me and some that had just left the bench. And I remember that they were there because they epitomized what it meant to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with God. These were folks that were extraordinary, that were certainly respected by their peers, as the mayor said. And I think now that we think that having her portrait in the city court is so important, because the young lawyers that come behind us walk into that courtroom and they understand what it means to be in the courtroom, the ethics, the morals, the preparation, the honor and the integrity that it brings. And so members of the bar, when we found out that Judge Jackson was retiring, we came together and we thought it was absolutely important that we do this portrait, because as the bridge builder says, you build that bridge for the people that are coming behind you. And so what she did is she's built those bridges, and she's enabled people who are following her footsteps to do as she's done. And in this day of chaos and sometimes hard lessons, to have somebody who brings everybody together, who does it right, we certainly need to honor them. So Mayor, thank you, councilmen, council ladies, thank y'all so much for doing this. Very, very well deserved. And I think that her portrait in there will inspire the folks that come into the courtroom every day.
I know Hood is someone Hood Temple, one of Florence's premier lawyers and a dear, dear friend of mine. But what Hood would never tell you is that he spearheaded the effort to raise the money to have that portrait done and give it as a gift to the city. So Hood, thank you to you and to everyone who participated. And Ken, you're the lucky man who gets to have Debbie as your wife.
You're welcome.
And I'm not sure what I can add to follow these two eloquent lawyers speaking. But I can tell you, well, first of all, thank you to all of you for making this happen. But I can tell you that what you see is what you get with her. And, you know, we're all lucky.
Thank you for everyone who stated. I will ask everyone to please gather around the portrait so they can take a picture with the portrait. And after that time period, Judge will give the floor to you. Judge, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'm just so overwhelmed, and I'm never really at a loss for words. My husband could also have told you that, but he was very kind. I'm just so grateful to all of you, and I've enjoyed serving as the city judge for about the last 15 years. I've enjoyed it very much. It's been a pleasure. When I was in law school, I prayed that I would have a job that I would really enjoy and would look forward to going to work, and the day would go by really fast. And thanks to Chief Heidler's guys at the police department, I stay very busy, and the days flow by. They're very interesting and fun, and I've just been really blessed. And also, I'm gonna say this so I won't forget it. My court administrator Hazel is in the courtroom, in the chambers, and she has just done an amazing job. And we're a team. We're a team. So anything I've accomplished, it's been first through my Lord and my husband and family, and Hazel, and a very good staff. So thanks to all of you. I look forward to my third career as a full-time grandmother.
And Judge, before you leave, at this time, we did have a recognition upstairs, but I do want to give room for all of our council members to take one or 2 minutes. So at this time, council members who, I know Councilman Braddock has asked to speak, so the floor is yours, Council.
Well, I'll be quick. One of the things that Judge Jackson did that some of y'all may not know is she helped start homeless court. And one of the House of Hope residents was the first one to go through homeless court and have her record expunged. What she probably didn't intend and didn't know that she was a part of was she introduced me to the attorney George Cothran. And after the first homeless court, you know, I said, George, I wish this would have been around in my heyday, and explained to him that I had 4 felonies, and Judge Cothran represented me for my pardon hearing. So that was a divine appointment that was put together, our divine meeting that you helped to orchestrate, and I appreciate that, Judge. Thank you.
Any other council member? Councilmember Neesmith Jackson.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I think when we were doing the interviews, that was the most time I spent with you, and I really enjoyed you, learned a lot from you, and thank you so much. And you're going to be missed, but thank you for your service.
Councilman McCall.
And again, thank you, Judge Jackson, for your service. I think oftentimes people don't understand the how well respected you were as a judge. Oftentimes when I'm in city courts, I couldn't be in city court in Florence, of course, because I'm up here, but in other cities, and every time I'm in their courtroom, they always talk about how they want to emulate their system, how Florence court system was, and you being the head of that is a strong testament of your service and what you meant to this court system and to this community. So again, thank you. Enjoy your third career. I'm sure it will be just as tiresome as your second one. But thank you for your service, and I look forward to seeing you out in the community now.
Chair recognizes Councilman Smith.
Again, thank you. I'm reading what everybody else said. Thank you, Judge, for all you've done for the city and bringing what we did not have here in Florence and to make it a better place. And thank you for serving justice in a fine and fabulous way and working with everyone. It's hard to find someone that works with everyone. And from what I've heard, you have worked with everyone truly. So we thank you again, and I know you're looking forward for that third career.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Barnes.
I too want to say just thank you so much for all of your years of service. But I can speak to the part with the grandmother. That's the most rewarding part of our lives. That our children are all right, but it's just something about that grandchild. So I'm excited for you because that is just a great part of your life that will bring you many, many smiles ahead.
Thank you, Council, for all the thoughts, and once again to Judge Jackson, thank you for your years of service. But also, you've set a precedent here now. So with this going forward, I would ask for our staff to look into how we can look at criteria for our future justices as they're retiring, things that can be done to honor them. Since Judge, you started another president, okay? So once again, but thank you for all that you've done and all that you will do, because even though you're retiring, I know that your dedication is not ending with retirement. So thank you for what you've done, and thank you also for what I know you will continue to do. Thank you. And thank you, Council, for everything y'all have done here today. So at this time, we'll proceed with our agenda as outlined. And next we have our ordinance in positions, and I'll give them a few minutes to remove that lovely portrait there. Council, first we have Bill number 2024-03 for second reading. It's an ordinance to amend the City of Florence Code of Ordinance Chapter 1.7 and add a new subsection providing that a person who violates any section of the city's code of ordinance with the intent to intimidate another person or persons in whole or in part because of the actions of perceived race, color, creed, religion, ancestry,
So moved.
gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, physical and mental disability, and national origin is guilty of a separate offense and of a hate intimidation. We have a
Second it.
motion. We have a motion and a second on this, and also a third. So at this time, do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Let it reflect that the bill passed unanimously. Next, we have introduction of ordinance. The first is Bill number 2024-04 for first reading. It's an ordinance to amend the budget for the fiscal year beginning July the 1st, 2023, and ending June the 30th, 2024. At this time, can we have a motion so we can
So
hear from?
moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. At this time, we hear from Mr. Rawlington.
Thank you. As council knows, the city has a policy that we maintain 30% of expenses in our unassigned fund balance. And this is done at the end of each fiscal year after the audit has been completed and presented to council, so that we have a number that is accurate. And so this amendment uses that extra money. This year we had 34% of our fund balance, which is equal to about just over $6.5 million that was available to spend. This money's traditionally used to spend for capital and one-time projects that are needed. Some of the capital has been cut from the regular budget, and so it's held over. And so this budget represents that. There's also a $300,000 transfer in here that we have a fund where we collect the roll cart fees that goes to pay for replacement of roll carts and recycle bins, but the excess money is then used for the purchase of residential sanitation trucks. And so with this ordinance, we're going to spend the money by the capital projects are going to be, we want to expand and improve the parking at the city center farmers market, purchase 5 police cars. We're going to do, the fire department has asked for $60,000 to refurbish 2 engines to try to extend their life. They've also asked for 1 ladder truck, which is $2 million, 1 engine, which is another $1 million, and then 2 command staff vehicles. We're asking for an additional $1.1 million for commercial sanitation trucks, 2 of them, along with the 1 residential that we just talked about. We're looking at building 2 dog parks and an amphitheater at the Dr. Iola Jones Park. We're going to replace for $1.3 million the lighting at Freedom Florence. And then the couple of one-time non-capitals that we're planning on doing is $75,000 to recodify our code of ordinances. The last time this was done was approximately 40 years ago. And then $200,000 for a housing study, and then a redevelopment study for another $200,000. And so that's what this ordinance supports.
Council, you've heard the reading. Do we have any questions? Chair.
Scotty had something.
Madam Mayor, I wanted to state also that this information was presented at the budget retreat on January 25th and 27th. It's also the information that was approved by the Finance Committee.
Chair recognizes Pro Tem.
First off, I want to say congratulations, Scotty. You know, you jumped into the job right out the chute with budget stuff that thrown at you, and you and Kevin and all the staff worked very, very closely and well together. And you know, these capital purchases are so expensive, and to get it out of the regular budget is just really hard when you have so many constraints on the regular budget. So finding, you know, identifying this extra money that's in the reserve fund and being able to pull that out while maintaining that same 30% for our fiscal integrity is really, really important. And I just commend you all for what you've done. And I think, you know, I certainly plan on voting in favor of this. I think it's, every item on there is not a want. It seems like every one of us is an ongoing need that just is, we're just now getting a chance to get to. So thank you so much for what y'all have done in putting this together.
Any other council member? If not,
I would say something.
Chair recognizes Councilman McCall.
I was going to say exactly what George said. He beat me to it. This is probably the first budget we had that, well, addendum to the budget that there was no issues. I think that's a kudos to Scotty, I think, for at that budget retreat for allowing us to see the needs of the departments at the forefront. So when it came to Finance Committee, it was kind of almost like a foregone conclusion of what needs to be done. So again, thank you all and staff for your hard work in preparing this for us so we continue to move Florence forward. Thank you.
Any other comments from council?
Well, one other thing, Shannon,
Chair,
I see you smiling real
one
big
moment,
in the
George.
back.
One moment, George, here. Any other council member, any statements toward the budget or anything? Okay, hearing none. Once again, thank you, Mr. Rollison, for that report. But most of all, thank you to our staff, too, and our department heads for all that you did to work together, to come together, to create a budget that would be reflective of the needs of the city, and to do it so amicably. And Scotty, also congratulations on the first completion of your first budget as city manager. We truly appreciate your work, and also all of the staff and our directors. So thank you for what you've done, and to the council, thank you for your part that we all played at the workshop to be able to work with the staff to be sure that the needs of the city was addressed. I do want to comment, especially with our fire department, the ability to get those equipment approved was very important, because some of the equipment there, that what we learned was that it would take 3 years to actually get a ladder truck. So we needed to go ahead and order that now. So I want to commend everyone for the part that you played on making this happen for the citizens of Florence. Florence, you have good leadership, and you have an excellent city manager and excellent city staff leading the city. And to all of you, thank you for all that you've done. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor of this bill, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Thank you for that passing of the first reading. Next, we have Bill number 2024-05 for first reading. It's an ordinance to annex and zone RG-3 3701 Butnick Burn. This is a hard name, Bannick Burn Road, identified as Florence Tax County Map number 00152-01-025 for first reading. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second.
Second.
Okay, we're here from Mr. Moore at this time.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a request to annex and zone residential general 3, approximately 137 acres. This This property is located on the corner of Bannockburn and Green Acres Road. Currently, there is water available to this site. Sewer is not available. They will have to do a sewer extension to get sewer to the property. The public hearing for the zoning was held February 13th with Planning Commission, and the commission recommended unanimously to approve the annexation and zoning recommendation. Right now, we do currently have a sketch plan that will be going before Planning Commission as well next month. The sketch plan shows approximately 365 lots, residential lots going onto this property. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you, staff. And also, we have individuals signed up to speak. So at this time, I would ask for Mr. Paul Mishu Jr. to please come forward.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for having us. I'm with Cross Engineering Services, and yeah, we're mostly here to answer any specific questions that you might have at this time.
Okay. And is Mr. Chad Rest along with you? Do you want him up at the same time?
He is here, yeah, and he's able to speak
Mr. Rest,
on
you're
the-
welcome to come forward as well at this time. To council, does council have any question? Chair recognizes Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
All right, so the 137 lots, acres, and you said it's gonna be 165 lots?
No, it ends up being around 365 lots that are between about 5,000 and 10,000 square feet. So there's some flexibility for different pricing.
So do you have a plan for this area as of yet?
Yes, we do.
And what's that?
It would be single-family, residential, detached.
Any other questions, Councilwoman? Any other questions?
She asked my question.
All right. That concludes the question. Thank you both. If there's no other statement, we appreciate you being here today.
Okay, I can also just clarify that with the sewer line, we've been working pretty closely with Mr. Fox, and it does look like that we can grab flow from the property up to the city-owned station that's at Howell Springs and Bannockburn intersection. And so, yeah, it's we have a high level of confidence that it's going to be a good one.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Chair recognizes Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
What's adjacent to that is able to get annexed into the city?
So they are adjacent to the Southbrook subdivision and I can't remember what the name of the one behind it is, where Lofty Way, Spud Lane, those single-family residential properties are located right here. All of the city limits are highlighted in the light blue.
Does that conclude your question, Councilwoman?
Yeah, how much, I'll do my research later for the next one. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that bill has passed first reading. Next we have bill number 2024-06 for first reading. It's an ordinance to annex and zone NC 152506 Parson Gate, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 01221-01-285. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. At this time, we can hear from Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a request to annex and zone NC 15, the property located at 2506 Parsons Gate. This property is located within the Windsor Forest subdivision. This is an infill lot. Currently, there are no structures on the property. The applicant is moving forward with the construction of a new home. And this concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Any questions from council?
Just one.
Chair recognizes Pro Tem.
Clint, the donut holes are getting filled in.
Trying.
Any other questions or comments?
No.
Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that the bill has passed first reading. Next, we have bill number 2024-07 for first reading. It's an ordinance to rezone 709 and 711 West Darlington Street from NC-6.2 to NC 6.3, identified as Florence County Tax Map Numbers 90060-11-002 and 90060-11-017. Do we have a
So
motion?
moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. At this time, we'll hear from Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is a request to rezone the property located at 709 and 711 West Darlington Street from NC 6.2 to NC 6.3. I'll zoom in a little bit. These are two vacant properties that front Darlington Street. And currently, as NC 6.2, what is permitted within that zoning designation is single-family detached, patio homes, and duplexes only. And moving to the NC 6.3, it would allow the applicant to build the requested multiplex, which is essentially from the street. If you're standing on the street looking at it, it would look like a large single-family home. You would enter into it where you would access the other multiple units. But it also permits multifamily townhomes and others with conditions. I do want to point out that these conditions within the zoning ordinance would require certain criteria that would essentially not allow any multifamily or that high of density to occur. You have to have so much of the property set aside for open space, and right now at 0.23 acres, approximately 10,000 square feet, this just barely kind of hits the limit of being able to be able to do the project that the applicant is looking to achieve.
At this time, we do have Mr. Lawrence Edwards to speak. So I'm going to ask Mr. Edwards to please come forward.
Good afternoon, Lorenzo Edwards. I want to build a small multi-units, 1 bedroom, 4 units. I'm a native of Florence. My mother born in this area in 1939. 100 years ago, my grandfather actually built, as of this year, on that same land. And I wanted to improve my neighborhood. I was born and raised in this neighborhood. Lots of people may know my family from this community. And I just want to do something to improve and restore an area that has gone into decline, but was a very proud part of Florence. And because I purchased this land that all cash on a very visible part of my neighborhood to bring back something that kind of starts a revitalization. So.
We have, I know we have Councilman Smith, we have Councilman McCall, and let's go in this order. Councilman Smith, Councilman McCall, Councilman Jabez, did you want to speak? And we're going that order. Go ahead, Councilman Smith.
So my question would really be for Clint. Is there any other multifamily units in this area?
Yes, so if you'll pull the screen back up.
Sure, down.
Is that flat?
There we go. All right, so the properties are located here, highlighted in red. This is considered commercial reuse. I believe it's a gas station.
It's a liquor store.
Commercial property, and then we have the multifamily right here. So within this area, there are a multitude of different land uses.
Okay. Councilman McCall?
Thank you. And just for the record, what was planning department's, the planning committee's recommendation?
Unanimously
7-0?
to approve the rezone.
Okay, thank you.
Pro Tem?
Yeah, and this is facing Darlington Street, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Councilwoman Barnes?
They asked all my questions, so I'll just say thank you for coming and having a heart to give back to our community. Thank you.
Now, let me be sure. Councilman Braddock? Okay, Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson.
Thank you, Lorenzo. This being in my district, I'm pretty much familiar with it, along with the other areas that complement it. I appreciate you coming down here, investing in Florence. We welcome it. Thank you so much, and I can't wait to see it.
And I will state, what I was hearing too, both stated that with this particular unit, it will be facing onto Darlington Street. Right there, the commercial, you have 2 single-family homes, but also located on that corner, there's another single family, which is also in your family, which is already in that family land ownership. And with those particular buildings, when you build it, it's going to be facing Darlington Street, but it's going to have, the building will appear like a single-family home. It will have that one-way entrance. And I acknowledge this because this is a part of the revitalization that took place in Georgia, that the homes that they had that was built next to single-family homes, you could not tell that they were not single-family. They looked like a single-family home, but it was actually a duplex. So I commend you for respecting the design of the community, bringing new homes, but honoring the history, but bridging it to the future. So for me, that's what is important for the community, because I live in that community. So I thank you for honoring that. Thank you so much. So at this time, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Congratulations, this bill has passed first reading. Next, we're into our introduction of resolutions. Next, we have resolution number 2024-10 as a resolution to adopt the Municipal Association 2024 Advocacy Initiative. Bill, Mr. Pope, would you please come forward? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Ms. Pope, would you please read that resolution, please?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Resolution number 2024-10, a resolution to adopt the South Carolina Municipal Association 2024 Advocacy Initiatives. Whereas cities and towns in South Carolina are the government closest to the people, providing the core services residents and businesses demand for an exceptional quality of life. And whereas local decisions affecting residents and local businesses should be made by local leaders. And whereas cities and towns seek to make numerous small changes in current state law to support new and existing local industry and businesses, changes in public health and safety, and continuity of service delivery. And whereas cities and towns seek to support legislation that adds more tools to the toolbox for local governments, to expand and create programs to help residents and businesses. And whereas the City of Florence fully supports the 2024 advocacy initiative set forth by the Municipal Association of South Carolina Board of Directors for city and town councils to govern effectively and efficiently. And now therefore be it resolved, the City Council of the City of Florence affirms its support for the Municipal Association's 2024 advocacy initiatives for the benefit of all South Carolina's 271 cities and towns, resolved this 18th day of March, 2024.
Thank you. You've heard the reading of the resolution. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye. And opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that the resolution has passed. Next, we'll move forward to report to council for appointments to boards and commission.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Members of council, we have one board that has a vacancy. That's our Housing Authority Board. We have about 14 applicants for that board. That falls to Councilman Braddock.
Chair recognizes Councilman Braddock.
Yeah, I'd like to appoint Wanda Vereen.
Councilman has nominated Ms. Wanda Vereen. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. Let it reflect that Ms. Vereen has been appointed to the Housing Authority Board. Thank you, Councilman, for that.
That concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move forward with the mayor report. I think that y'all have heard a lot of positive things in the news, as well as knowing that when it comes to federal money, that we're receiving, our position to receive some $5 million for the upgrading and expansion of our water treatment plant. That's excellent news. But also on the local level, I do want to acknowledge that this July the 13th will be the second Saturday in July. It will be our second annual PD Youth Day. So I'll invite everyone to mark your calendar for that event. This event will be sponsored through the PD Youth as well as the Mayor's Youth Initiative. But also this week on the 20th and 21st, Florence, South Carolina, the City of Florence will be hosting the first Harbor Freight Fellowship, which will be held here at our Barnes Street. This particular program is a foundational program where we will have industry coming in that Wednesday morning to meet together, talk about the future of our youth, and also apprenticeship and various programs for them. Then the next day, we'll come together with various leaders from the community and also our youth. I think that this is a good move forward for our city, that we are investing in our young people in their future and opening opportunities for them as well. This coming Friday, on the 22nd, there will be a first of the Florence Faith-Based initiative that will be held at 5:30 at the Assembly on Palmetto Street, where our faith-based community is also coming together to work together as one body so that we can continue to heal and move our city forward. So I would like to say, first of all, we've got a lot of good things going on, and also just want to acknowledge that some of our staff as well as some of our leadership did go to Washington this past week too as well to actually last week when we moved the city council meetings so that we could have these council members be able to go forth and represent our city. So as a mayor, I just simply want to state that things are moving well. We have industry development that's occurring and various projects that are still moving forward. So as a city, I will say again, thank you to our council for all that they do individually try to move our city forward, but also thank you to our city manager and to our staff that you're doing, because I believe 100% our staff operates this city for us 24/7, and we can never thank you enough for all that you're doing. So thank you. So at this time, we'll move forward with our committee reports, and I will ask each chairperson to give us, a 2 to 5 minutes update on their particular committee. So the first committee we have is our Business Development Committee, and I would like to recognize that chair.
Thank you. The Business Development Committee met on February 15, and joining me were our other committee members, Councilwoman Barnes and Councilman Braddock. We also had our city manager, Scotty Davis, Clint Moore, and Michael Hemingway were there, and we thank them for their participation. The focus of this past meeting was PDRTA came and did a presentation. Don Strickland, who's the executive director of PDRTA, along with Will Johnson from PDRTA came, and we had a very informative update from them on all of the work that they're doing. They have 65 vehicles, 40 drivers, 75 total employees. Even though they're about 10 short, they serve 6 counties in the PD region, covering about 3,500 miles. And one of the things that's really important to know is in terms of the miles that need of service, PDRTA is the number 3 in terms of total number of miles of any one of the transportation units in the entire United States. They have more miles, the 3rd highest number of miles of area that they have to serve of any unit, number 3 in the whole country. So kudos to them and all that they do to address that over 6 counties, of course, very rural counties. One of the things that grew out of that was that looking to the future, they are trying to prepare themselves for the future. I happen to serve also on the PDRTA board, and one of the things that was brought up is the need to look at, can we locate an intermodal center that would have maybe Amtrak access as well as other forms of transportation. I've been asked to serve by the PDRTA board as the chair of the intermodal committee to look at that on behalf of PDRTA. So I think, and I know, Scotty, that you and Don Strickland have had conversations. There's a grant application that Councilman Braddock, Russell Fry, is looking at, trying to see if he can get some federal funds to assist us with that. In fact, that application, I believe, is due today, and I know that Mr. Strickland's been working hard at putting that together. So we'll see where that goes. There's a study going on that PDRTA is currently has underway, and can they identify some potential sites, maybe quantify them with where their viability is. So hopefully we'll be hearing some good news going forward, but there's a lot of work to be done. It's just getting started, but it could have a very significant impact on us and our community going forward. So let's just keep that in mind, that this intermodal center could be something of significance. And that was another important part of their presentation that they gave at the February meeting. We also heard from Mr. Hemingway and all the upgrades that are, and all the developments that are occurring with regard to our water system and our sewer system and the utilities, and thank you for that. And we heard from Mr. Moore on all the road work that's being done with the penny sales tax funding that's underway. So we had a great update on all that, as well as the Carolina Theater update and what's happening with that. And I did see in the Nofel building, Clint, that there's some tape that's there. It appears as though maybe the developer is finally getting started on that. Am I reading that right or no? No. Okay. Maybe it's hopeful thinking on my part. Sorry. So, at any rate, a lot of good things happening. Thank you, Clint and Michael and Scotty, for your input at that meeting. And we have our next meeting coming up this week. Yes. And that's everything, unless there's something else. Councilman Barnes, Councilman Braddock, anything else to add? That concludes our report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for that report. And I do want to say that individual items, especially with PDRTA, is a good thing, and also the possibility of that centralized modem and the sites they're looking at. I concur, great sites and potential. So thank you for that report. So at this time, we'll have a report from our Community Development Chair Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. From the community, one of the things, well, I want to say, when the budget was read, it did my heart really well to hear about the amphitheater at the parks. And I was just sharing with one of the people that came and speak with us that in order for us to address this crime that's in our community, we've got to find ways to instill pride in our community. We had an incident at one of the parks, and I would hope that it was not a resident of the community, but oftentimes it is. And it's because something is lacking and something is missing. And so we're going to continue to press forward and try to help build that pride in our community. And so, again, thank you, staff, and for pushing forward that, and council. But I don't have anything else to report on community unless Councilman McCall and Neesmith are on with me. Is that it? Anything?
And thank you, Chair, for that report. At this time, I'm going to ask the Chair of the Marketing and Public Relations Committee to please give us a report.
Yes, Mayor. We had a meeting on the 21st. Myself, Mayor Pro Tem Jabali, and Councilman Smith, and we talked about the City U that we have starting coming soon. Please, 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 if you have not put in your application for the City U, go through that, understand how government works, how funds get allocated, how the city actually runs. So I encourage everyone to sign up for City U. It's open to 24 spots, so please, please, please get into it, sign up. Last year around this time, I know we had Wilson High in the mock trial, and we gave them a resolution. This year, they actually won as regional champs. So I do want to recognize them for that. Though they did not win state championship, they came pretty close. I also want to recognize that we have someone here from our Leadership Florence. One of the things that we are supposed to do in Leadership Florence is attend a city or a council, county council meeting. So I love to see when my leadership group is here. And thank you so much for coming, my Leadership Florence sister. And hopefully we encourage others to go through that program. Also, little shameless plug, today at 4 o'clock we have my son Drayshawn Jackson is going to be on the Jay Hudson show. So we have a local, Florence is being highlighted, and I'm so excited to see Florence doing big things and being recognized on the great people that we do have in our community coming out of our public schools doing good things. So I'm excited about that, and that actually concludes the marketing and public relations, unless anybody have anything else, guys.
Well, I'm going to thank the chairperson for that. And I do want to also say that I was going to recognize Rashawn because, and if you're not aware, Rashawn actually went viral for his acceptance at Harvard. And so, and he is an honor student. He's also a working young man. He also participated with the Mayor's Youth Initiative, the PD Youth Day last year. So he is a part of the pride of Florence. And Councilwoman, I'd like to commend you and your family for all that you've done to support him, to help elevate him to where he's at. And I'll tell everyone, if you're not going to be able to see the show, DVR.
Yeah.
He is worth it. I've seen some of the highlights that was posted about him. So to you and your family, congratulations.
And we are going to have a watch party come soon. We just figuring out how to get it done back over, but we are going to have a watch party so everybody can be part of the action. He'll be there, and I am excited because he's really good when it comes to leadership. So, and he's ready to mentor all of the youth. That's why I'm so excited. He's part of the Mayor's Youth Initiative because he is ready to mentor the youth on his successes and what got him there. Also, he'll be in the VIP magazine coming up. So make sure you get that magazine as well. They'll be talking about the IB program and I guess his success from the IB program. So please make sure you get the next edition of the VIP magazine.
Well, thank you. And I'll just have to give a plug. That's part of good community development, too. So the communities are producing young people. It also is good for our business because with him being on the nationwide TV, that brings Florence to highlight. That's going to bring more attention to the things that all the council is participating in. So thank you again for that. Also, at this time, we will hear from the chair of our Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We met on February 28th for this March meeting. The members present on that committee is me, Councilman Brian Braddock, and Councilman J. Lawrence Smith II. Again, we met on February 28th, and ours was pretty straightforward. We talked about, they kind of stole the thunder of my report by having the budget items presented already, so there's really nothing to talk about. Basically, we went over the budget items and made sure everything was sufficient. And I think everyone on council knew what was coming because of the budget retreat, so it was almost kind of a foregone conclusion of our priorities. And again, as the mayor indicated, it'd take 3 years to get a ladder truck, so we know we had to get a ladder truck. And other things. One thing I did want to highlight that I think Councilwoman Barnes forgot to mention was that we did vote it to have a housing study done on affordable housing in the area. That came out of the Community Development Committee, and that was for us to look at to see whether or not is there a housing shortage, is there enough affordable homes in this area for people to be able to have some place to live here, and what we need to do as a council in order to move that needle forward. So that is in here, and again, I think everyone on council is supportive of it. I just wanted to mention that. And last thing we talked about, cause we kind of wrapped up early, was the dog parks, and I think we were talking about maybe a location for those areas for those 2 dog parks. So that was the brunt of our discussion, was those budgetary items and the dog park. And that'll conclude my report.
Thank you for that report, and thanks to each of the chairs for their report. And as we're moving forward, especially with the housing study, I do want to commend everyone on the part that we're doing. I believe that one of the biggest answers for affordable homes are livable wage jobs. So for us as a council, everything that you're doing really helps to try to promote Florence and promote income increase, because when you have affordable living wage jobs, you increase the whole of the city and our viability even to the attracting industry here. So each chairperson, thank you for all that you've done to continue to move Florence forward. At this time, we're prepared to go into our executive session. And our executive session items is A, to provide an update on the Economic Development Project 30-4-70A5, and a discussion of a personnel matter 30-4-70A1. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Let it reflect we're going into executive session. We have just returned from executive session at which time no votes or no action were taken. We had 2 items that we covered, and those items, as were listed, was first to be providing an update on Economic Development Project 30-4-70A5. We received that update, and once again, no actions or no votes were taken. Next, we have a personnel matter that we discussed, and it was 30-4-70A1, and prior to going in, that we had no action and no votes, I would like to recognize our pro tem at this time.
Yes, with regard to the personnel matter involving our judges, I'm going to have to recuse myself in that one of the judges, Judge Rangeley Bailey, is my law partner in my law practice, so I'm going to be recusing myself from the vote on the judges.
Thank you, Pro Tem, for that. So at this time, we're going to hear from our chair from our Judicial Committee. Chair, would you please give us an update and your recommendations?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We would like to the Judicial Review Committee at this time would recommend the reappointment of Judge Rangeley Bailey as Associate Judge, Judge Edgar Wilcox as Associate Judge, Judge Nick Lewis as the Municipal Judge, Judge Alicia Lewis as the Municipal Judge, and Marsh Julian as the new part-time municipal judge. In addition, we also recommend that we appoint the new chief judge, Mr. Marcus Woodson, subject to contract negotiations with the city manager's office.
Thank you, Chair, for that. Is that your motion?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all those favored signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. Let it note that the slate as proposed has been adopted. That concludes our agenda items. At this time, we are entertaining a motion to adjourn. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, like sign. It passed. We are adjourned.